So what is the name of this thing, Nick? No, the whole thing. The y equals mx. The whole y equals 5727x plus $86,152.89. What's the name of that? Just the cost function. Cost function. So that is a cost function. That's what we call a cost function. And so from here, there will be a test question where I give you a printout like this and expect you to be able to create a cost function. Okay? And we have just now learned how to do that. Okay? You just pick off, it's on your labels, it's called the intercept and then the x variable. Intercept. Oh, you typed this in, didn't you? Cost driver machine hours, or somehow had it as the title. Yeah, the label that you put at the top. So recognize the bottom one, where I have labeled x equals hours. It can be different labels, but usually the intercept is labeled very clearly as the intercept, and so the other one then is the m variable. Okay. Now, what was different? How many points? How many points does the high-low method use, Tyson? Thankfully, you have a cap on it, so if I bump it, Tyson, how many points does the high-low method use?
2.
That is the correct answer if you say it just a little more loudly and like you know what you're talking about.
2?
2! There are 2 points that the high-low method uses. Which 2 points, Rubina? And this is really very similar to Mr. Michael's question. I mean, it's really kind of the same answer. Which 2 points do we use? Which 2 points? Do you remember my conversation with Mr. Michael? Mr. Michael, wave at Robina so she knows who you are. Do you know who Mr. Michael is? Okay. Do you recall the conversation I had with him?
Was it the M&B?
No, it wasn't the M&B.
Okay, well, it's the X and Y.
It's not X and Y either.
Okay, well, then it's the dollar and activity.
No.
Okay.
It's one of those, though. You're really warm there because it's one of those 2, but not both.
Dollar.
No. Because which do you choose first? The activity. So it is the high, which 2 points do you use? The high activity point and the low activity point, which absolutely, as you said, involve an X and a Y and a cost and activity. But we're making the choice of those points based on the activity. So it's the high and low activity. But and then what you said is absolutely right in the sense that for each of those activities, you need both an X variable and a Y variable to actually identify the point. So you need the X, yeah, you're thinking and that is correct. Every point has an X and a Y piece to it, if you will, okay? So we're picking the high activity point and the low activity point. And I wanted to review that because how is regression analysis different, Mr. Tony Vogt? Did I not talk loud enough?
No, I don't think so.
Were you listening? What? Can you tell him what the question is?
He asked, how is regression analysis different from the high-low method?
Very good. She was listening.
I guess it gives you like the exact answer. I don't really know what you're going with this question.
You don't really know what I'm going with. Brittany, do you know what I'm going with? As Mr. Volk might be asking? Huh? No. Anybody? It uses all points. Regression analysis uses all the points. It just doesn't pick 2. It uses all, in this case, in the case of your analysis, it's using all 12 points. Because each of those pieces of data, like Robina told us, each of those pieces of data is a point. If you look at Southern Carpets, that's a point. January is a point.
That's not it.
That's not it. Well, okay, let's turn to the right one. January, I can still say January is a point. Ooh, 3, 4, 6, 7, 3,467 is the x point. You know, is the place along the x-axis, and 341,062 is the point along the y-axis. And so you put those two together, complete with sound effects, and you've got a point on an xy plane. And so regression analysis uses all 12. So which one do you think is doing a better job of drawing a line through all those points, Tyler? The regression analysis or the high-low method? Regression, because it's using all 12 points to draw the line, whereas high-low method's only using 2. Okay? Now, what else can I tell you about this? I did want to say all that, though, because remember what both regression and the high-low method are doing is drawing a line through all those points. Okay? And we like the regression analysis better. How good a job is regression analysis doing drawing a line through all those points? Now, Anthony and Alex might be able to help us here, because there's a number up here that tells us, there's some numbers we can look at up here that tell us how good a job is regression analysis doing drawing a line through these points. Sir? What were did you have your hand up? Scott? You had your hand up.
No, sir.
Yes, you did.
Might have been itching my head.
Brandon, did you see his hand up? Although his body was kind of blocking it, so Brandon really didn't have a good angle. You know which numbers they are? Are you in Stats 2 right now? No. You looking forward to taking Stats 2 pretty soon?
Not really.
Alex? Anthony? Joe? What's that mean?
I don't know.
You don't know? Are you trying to fall asleep?
No. Try to stay awake.
Just trying to, thank you. Anthony? Where's the standard error at? Where's the standard error at? Is big good or bad? Is big good or small good for standard error? Smaller is good. And so, and that is a true statement. Standard error, smaller is good. So when you're comparing regressions, the one with the smaller standard error is typically the better one. Although in this case, it's not quite as helpful in the sense because we only got one. So we've only got one regression. But it's an exactly correct statement to say that standard error, smaller is better. And so if you've got multiple regressions you've created, like if you've tried different activities that you used, you know, maybe, what did we use here in Southern Carpets? Which activity?
Machine hours, I believe.
Machine hours. So if you could,
Cost driver, machine hours.
cost driver machine hours, if you wanted to try direct labor hours, or, you know, pounds of direct materials, or whatever you wanted to use as the other activity, you could, if you wanted to run multiple regressions, then you could use Anthony's method to figure out which one was best. We went with the smaller standard. What did we call it? Standard error.